Hello, freaks, geeks, nerds, basement dwellers, degenerates. Welcome to the Nerd Zone. I'm Scruffy, and this is Scruffy Tales. And in this video, I will explain why I feel that they are ruining and keep ruining the Gorn in Star Trek. Now, throughout Star Trek, various races have evolved over time. Here we have the Klingons and the Ferengi. Trill have undergone changes as well, removing ridges on the forehead and getting the spots instead. But I mean, so changes do happen. I'm one of the people that don't like the Discovery Klingons. I think that was taking a change a bit too far. I am, however, very pleased with the end result of the Ferengi. Their development, they became a much more fun and believable species towards the end of Deep Space Nine than when they were introduced in the Next Generation. But it's a bit of a swing and a miss here, considering the Klingons and Discovery, if you ask me. And they did really well with the Ferengi. So, races in Star Trek, they do evolve and they change slightly between different shows. That has to be said. And the same is, of course, true for the Gorn. And the Gorn, they have been this enigmatic species ever since they were introduced in the original series, and then we got some glimpses of them in Enterprise, where they used a CGI creature to represent the Gorn, sort of based on the original version of the Gorn. Tried to stay true to the original version. And now you have a new version yet again with Strange New Worlds, where the Gorn, I don't know, they always seem extremely feral, right? Not like a proper sentient being. They behave more like animals that just happen to be able to travel through space. And I'm not entirely sure what I think of that. I mean, I like the fact that they've chosen to focus a bit on the Gorn in Strange New Worlds. It's a species that really should have been more explored throughout Star Trek, and excellent choice in using them for Strange New Worlds. But there are design features here that I'm not entirely fond of. The long tail. No, I do not like this tail and stuff like that. I do like the rest of the creature. I like the fact that we see them wearing spacesuits and stuff like that, like a highly advanced species would when traveling through space. But I mean, I'm not a massive fan of the whole feral part of the Gorn that they went with in Strange New Worlds. And I don't know really what they were trying to push so many different sci-fi aspects into the Gorn. I mean, they are obviously this new version, they are heavily inspired by the xenomorphs from the Alien franchise. And the whole, we also get the Predator vibe, and the way they reproduce is, sure, Gene Roddenberry created Andromeda, absolutely, but this is just a Magog in a different version of the Magog, I feel, in the way they reproduce. And of course, when they invade that colony, that is taken straight out of Independence Day. With the locusts coming to harvest a planet. So, I mean, they just took all of this and just mashed it into one species, and I guess it could have worked. but I don't understand why they need to be this feral. I guess they wanted something that was truly alien, and that we couldn't understand. That might be it, but it just becomes like xenomorphs. They are xenomorphs that can wear spacesuits, that can fire guns, and that have spaceships. And it just feels weird. The whole thing with the xenomorphs is that they're, in the end, animals overcoming humans with technology. Here you have xenomorphs with technology behaving like xenomorphs, and it's a weird mix. Especially when you add the Predator aspect, the Magog aspect, and the Independence Day aspect to it all as well. They're pushing too much into it, and I think it falls apart since they are so feral in the depiction we get from them. And truth be told, I mean, it's just another version of the Borg, if you ask me. I mean, this is an enemy that you can't argue with, because they're all into the hunt and they're so feral, they will always kill you. And I mean, it's a society, a culture, but you can't trade with it because it hunts your own species, your own people, and kills them for fun, for sport, for reproduction. So how the hell do you engage with them? How do you trade with them? How do you exchange culture when, to their mind, you're only food for their young ones? And that is their foreign policy, to kidnap your people to feed their young. I mean, there's no reasoning with them. There's no trade. There's no exchange of culture. They are the Borg, this great threat that no one can understand or reason with. And they're always hostile. They're out to kill you, just like the Borg are always out to assimilate you. And they infect hosts to multiply. The Borg do the same. And of course, both the Borg and the Gorn, they arrive and remove entire colonies of people for the greater good of their own cause, to reproduce, to create more drones for the Borg, or to reproduce younglings for the Gorn. It's just the Borg, but the Borg are able to run extremely fast. This highly evolved, advanced species that's with only one goal in mind, and that is to subjugate a planet in order to reproduce. And you can't reason with them, you can't argue with them. It's just this existential threat coming at you. So it's, I don't know, it's lacking something for me, the Gorn, this new iteration of the Gorn, that makes them compelling to me personally. And on top of it, I do not like the new starship design. I wish they had done something to honor the older designs instead of coming up with this weird new, I don't know what the hell this is. I don't know what the larger ship is as well that they do the Independence Day entrance with. And the smaller interceptor hunter class, no, just spinning around, and no, it doesn't do it for me. I just think it's a massive swing and a miss. This new version of the Gorn, I don't like it at all whatsoever. And also, I mean, here we have highlighted where the Gorn hegemony is located, right next to the Tholian assembly of all things. Like as if the Tholians would accept having Gorn as neighbors when the Gorn is intent on killing and hunting. It's just weird. And then you have the Klingons right next to it, and the Federation. How has the Gorn managed to survive? Why would anyone tolerate them invading your space, and invading your colonies, and kidnapping your people in order to kill them, to become food for their young? I mean, right? So it's just so weird that all of these larger, quote unquote, empires allows this extremely hostile species thrive right next to them. It's just mind-boggling. Especially when we find out the Gorn custom of having entire planets as breeding ground or nurseries for their young, and they just uh, dump food onto these planets so the young can hatch and feed and hunt and what have you. And as it says, they at times uh, hunt down other species, other sentient life forms, grab them, and bring them back to these breeding planets within the Gorn hegemony. How has anyone allowed this to continue? Why would the Tholians allow it? Why would the Klingons allow it? Why would the Federation allow it? I mean, it makes very little sense for any of us. So, I mean, as soon as the Gorn attacked the Klingons, why wouldn't the Klingons just go after them in full force and just kill them all? Wouldn't that be the most glorious campaign in history for the Klingons? And I mean, there's enough Klingons around to go after the Gorn and kill them. Just the world building aspect, I find very peculiar here, and it doesn't fit. This extremely feral aspect of the new Gorn doesn't fit. That they're basically animals but capable space travel. It's yeah, no, it doesn't do it for me. It just leaves too many questions that I want answered, and the answers aren't satisfactory. But so my biggest question is, can you do something like they did with the Klingons? The Klingons were this militaristic, aggressive society in the original series. But when you met the Klingons, you could talk to them, discuss with them. You could get a feel for their culture and what they were all about and stuff like that. And you could sit down and reason with them. And then there would be cultural differences between the Federation and the Klingons and what have you. But there was still this sentient discussion. And then, of course, in the Next Generation and the Deep Space Nine, we explored the Klingon culture even more and learned more about them, and they evolved into these samurai, Viking-esque warriors with this culture extremely focused on honor. So it was a nice transition and evolution of the Klingons from the original series into TNG and into DS9, I feel. Can you do something like that with the Gorn based on the decisions made here? That they are so feral, that they are animals, that they will hunt, that is their culture, that they will hunt you down in order to ensure that their younglings can sprout to life and hunt and feed and what have you. What will the culture be like? Can you have something like Jadzia Dax, a Curzon Dax that goes out to understand the Gorn, their way of life, their culture, and things like that? Can you have episodes where Pike and the crew visits the Gorn home world and talks to the Gorn leaders, their politicians, or whatever it is, and understand the internal strives and the structure of the society and everything? I don't think you can, based on how they are portrayed at the moment as these extremely feral creatures that just want to hunt you down and infect you with the parasitic younglings so that they can hatch and eat you. No, I'm not a fan at all of the new Gorn. I would much rather have it a bit laid back, the feralness, more sentient, more being able to communicate and stuff like that, so that we have a chance of peeking into their psyche, peeking into their society and their culture and what it's all about, and not just these xenomorphs wearing spacesuits that are hunting you in order to infect you with parasites that will grow into tiny Gorn who will eat you. Now, I am, like I said, no fan at all of this latest version of the Gorn. The aesthetics of them, fine. I like the new aesthetics. I like the spacesuits and stuff. I'm no fan of the tail. No fan at all of the spaceships. But what we're seeing on screen now, this I think they could have they can absolutely work with this and make something out of this. It's really, really cool stuff. I'm just hoping that we could get something more about them than just the hunt and them effectively being this xenomorph Magog hybrid that is extremely dangerous to everyone around them. Who knows? We might get a very large evolutionary arc for the Gorn, just like we did with the Klingons, and it might just work in the end. But at the moment, I'm skeptical, and I'm not impressed at all. At the moment, one should add. Well, that's it. That's all I have for you. I hope you found it interesting and that I will see you in the next one. Bye.